Hi. Hopefully this video will not cut off because I deleted everything off of the camera that was on there, which means it should have freed up like space. It's like 2 hours and 48 minutes or something, and this should only last maybe an hour. I don't know, but yay, we're gonna do this because, you know, oh, this is my first time on a camera, by the way, if you guys are confused. You probably just heard my phone right now. This is only going to, you don't need to see Michael Clifford, this is only going to be used as a phone from now on, and I think it's happy that I have relieved it of the duty of filming, because we get a lot of music and storage space is whack. So I have a viewfinder, and I can see myself, I'm in a little rectangle, hi. Okay, I'm being weird, but we need a little bit of happiness before this video gets into it, because this is a lot. So, you guys might have heard bits and pieces of my senior year, and I'll put like the relationships that coincided with it and things that coincided with it, but the main thing is this is the timeline of everything that happened, and I'm going to tell you guys how my mental health was. And this isn't a video to give advice on, because I can't give advice on this. I honestly don't know like what I was going, like what I'm going through. I can't give advice on it because sometimes I still get put in a dark place like this, and I honestly don't know how to fix it. So it kind of sounds bad to say you guys would kind of be on your own, but you would, because I still don't know to this day how to fix it. But I'll jump into the story and maybe you'll see why. So I had therapy junior year, and I was like big chillin' after that. Like I was like, therapy really helped. I had an awesome therapist. Things were going well, and they went so well that I didn't need to go to therapy senior year. And I was like, I was a big chillin'. I was like, yes, this is great. I had an awesome kick butt therapist. Yes, we're gonna do this. We're gonna like fuck shit up. Like this is gonna be a great year. And through that, I was in a theater class with one of my friends that was a girl and this guy, and I'm gonna give him a code name. Let's call him, I'll just call him Theater because his name rhymes with that. So I was in a class with Theater, and basically I was practicing a monologue, and in the summer in that room, so the beginning of the year, it was really hot. So we were practicing monologues, like I said, and I was like, wow, my back is really hot, and my friend that was a girl felt it, and she's like, wow, your back is really hot. And I was like, yeah, I know. So I told the guy who was walking past, he's like, I bet it is, and winked at me. And I'm like, no, like feel it, like it actually is. And he put his arm like kind of like stroking the back a little bit, and he was like, it is, and like winked. And one of the girls in the class I didn't know was like, Theater, like stop being weird, like she's not interested in you, stop flirting. So he would technically do that. He'd also get in my personal space and poke me. It's like in a journal from senior year. I'll read it to you guys one day. Like, it's just crazy, the stuff that happened to me. So I was in the play, Diary of Anne Frank. Not a big part. I was an understudy, but then I was a Nazi at the end. Whatever. Shout out to Christian. But so there was this guy, and I'll use his character's name as his code name. His name was Peter. So there was this guy, Peter, and he was like really nice. He called all of his girlfriends baby girl, and he was just kind of like a nice guy. And I had started talking to him because I had a lot of stress, and he would help me through my stress and help me feel better, and you know, just kind of like normal guy friend things to do. So he was one of those guys that would like make you forget about your problems and make you feel better and make you always feel like you were loved and included in some way, because that was just the type of guy that he was. So, yeah, he was a really nice guy. But then, like, towards the end of the play, nothing happened between us, because he was, like, he ran with a different group than I did at the time. I started to get into his group a little bit later, but at first he ran with a different group than I did. So it didn't exactly work out, but I was still big chillin' because I was like, you know, it didn't work out. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. And I was still okay for the most part. So my girlfriend in theater, I'll call her Maya. She asked if I wanted a date to homecoming, and I told her no, like, not really, because like I didn't really know anybody. So I was like, no, I don't really want to date to homecoming, and like almost everyone in my grade hated me. So I was like, no, I don't really want to date to homecoming. Like, I don't really want to go with anybody. I just kind of want to go with my friends, you know, have a good time. It's my last year. So then she knew that one of her friends really wanted a relationship, and she knew that I was her only friend that was single. So she wanted to set me up with this guy's stage. That's why it'll be down below. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll meet him, but like, I don't really have any intention of dating him. Like, I just wanted to meet him because, you know, she was bugging me so much about it that I was like, fine, I'll go and meet him. I did the football game. One of my friends was there, but she was too busy talking to blank. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just like talk to him. And he was nice and everything. We were having a good time talking, getting to know each other type of thing. But I was also hanging out with Maya and her boyfriend at the time. So it was like I was talking to a lot of different groups of people. So I ended up starting to date Stage because she wanted us to work out. Like, she had set it up and she wanted us to work out. And I felt bad because she felt bad because none of the relationships she tries to put together works. So I felt bad for her that none of those were working out. So I decided to be the one that would work out so she would feel better. But never date somebody just because your friend wants... Oh my God, you scared the shit out of me. That's just my sister getting a bowl. It scared the shit out of me. And I'm like, okay, but like, never date a person just because your friend wants something to work out, because then you don't actually like that person, and that's just gonna be a lot of bad stuff. But I mean, it wasn't bad at first, because at first I thought I did like him. So here's where it kind of starts. I thought I did like him, at least a little bit. There were like some points where you like somebody and then you don't like them. Like, you know that weird thing where you like somebody and then you don't like them? You like them on different days. You know that weird thing? That might just be me, but I've had that a couple of times. And so I'm like, okay, well, it's one of those things. And that was kind of normal for me. But yeah. So we dated, and I mean, everything was fine for the most part. And it wasn't too bad. But it wasn't great. I don't know if this is making any sense. It was kind of in the middle, if you need a rating. Let's do 5 out of 10, probably, because like, there were some things that were good, but then some things that were not good. Who's riding a motorcycle at like 11 p.m.? Anyway. Go home! We're social distancing! Anyway. Sorry. Anyway, I'm keeping that in. That's funny. Anyway, so... Yeah, but I would say 5 out of 10. And I mean, like, I was his first kiss, and like, it was his first kiss after, like, Murder on the Orient Express, like, that movie, which is a really good movie, by the way. And, like, a bunch of other, like, things. Just kissing for first, like, nothing else. Just, like... But like his first relationship, and he was the kind of guy that would ask for consent for everything, like even to hold your hand. So like I said in my other video that it didn't catch, he's going to make somebody very happy someday. Like, his values are going to match up with somebody else, and he's going to make somebody very, very happy someday. Our personalities just did not match up. I was just not the right person for him. So we go to Dagger's party, and this is where shit happens. So Dagger is a very interesting person. You'll hear more about him later, but he and I actually date later, but I'll get to that later. Dagger was throwing a party because he was coming home from the hospital, and Maya had invited me to this party, and Maya had also invited Cupcake to this party. So we were all hanging out, and Cupcake was flirting with me, but I was there with Stage, and I was like, yeah, I kind of have a boyfriend, like, I'm not looking to date anybody. Like, Cupcake, you're adorable, but like, I'm not looking for anybody to date. And so, especially since he was a freshman and I was a senior, and I was like, nah, fam. So they started a game of spin the bottle. And I said to my boyfriend, I was like, you know, we don't we can just watch. Like, we don't have to, like, do anything, whatever. And he wanted to play. My boyfriend wanted to play spin the bottle. So I was like, he was like, come on, play with me. It's fun. And I was like, okay, I don't know why you want to play spin the bottle when you're in a committed relationship, but okay. So I played spin the bottle with him. And he had to kiss Cupcake twice. And then he was like, nah, I'm bopping out. Like, he didn't want to have to kiss a guy again. And so then when it got to me, I ended up having to kiss Cupcake like 11 to 12 times. So I was feeling kind of awkward because I was like, why am I kissing this guy so much? And so by the end of the night, apparently everybody at the party was dating each other. Like, that was Cupcake's idea. Like, we were all dating each other, apparently. And by the end of the party, Stage was close with Cupcake, so he decided to drive him home. And Cupcake had started calling me sweetheart, and I had called him honey. He also started calling me temptress at this point, which more on that later. But yeah, so I didn't think much of it. Like, Stage and I, we were like, I remember Stage drove me home and he's like, that Cupcake guy's kind of weird. I'm like, yeah, he's really weird. But like, we were just like, it's fine. Like, he's just messing around. Like, there's nothing to worry about, whatever. Then we got something to worry about because Cupcake started flirting with me when Stage wasn't around. And I was like, dude, I have a boyfriend. Like, you need to stop. You need to, like, stop acting this way. And also because my friend Maya liked him. So I was like, you know Maya likes you, right? You know that by, like, doing this, you're gonna piss her off. Like, and it did piss her off. So he straight up said he was trying to choose between Maya and I, which one he wanted to date. And I was like, well, take me out of the running, dude. Like, I have a boyfriend. I think you don't understand. I'm dating Stage. Like, you need to back off. But Cupcake didn't want to. So one day at Grease rehearsals, Maya was like, okay, like, we've got to talk to Cupcake. Like, you've got to talk to him. You've got to, like, he's lying to both of us. Like, we need to find out the truth. So she knew he wouldn't tell her the truth, so she made me do it. So I called him, and I was, like, playing mind games with him. And it was working until he saw through what I was doing. And he was like, okay, you need to like. Like, he was like, if I asked you out right now, what would you say? And I was, like, thrown off guard. And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, it's a yes or no question. And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, I guess I would say yes. And he was like, okay, I've made my decision. And right after he hung up, he told Maya that he chose me. You don't choose between people. And even if you are choosing between people, you don't let them know that's what you're doing. Like, that's a red flag number one, because he's a shit human being for doing that. And I know he's gonna watch this video, and I know he's gonna be like, what's with the name calling? We're cool now. Like, yeah, we're cool now, but bro, you were dumb. Anyway, I did forget to mention the way I met Stage was he was dancing outside in the rain at the Anne Frank cast party to Green Day. And that seemed more fun than being in a room full of people that basically hated me. So, just wanted to put that out there. But, oh, I already said called me to make the decision. Okay, so he had already planned, like, Cupcake had already planned a date with me for that Friday, the Friday of that week. And I was like, I was trying to find ways to get out of it, but I couldn't think of ways to get out of it. And I was like, I'm gonna have to go on this date. And I'm like, but I'm dating somebody. Like, how is this gonna work? Like, there's no way that this is gonna work well. So I ended up, because I felt like the relationship was falling apart and there wasn't much more I could do to keep it together, I broke up with Stage. And of course, Stage acted like a little bitch and was just mad. But I was still okay after that. Like, my mental health was still alright. Like, I was, like, fine. I was big chillin'. Like, I was cool. He wasn't, but, like, he got broken up with. So, like, you can't really blame him for that. But, like, I was big chillin'. I was like, I'm cool. So So on the day of the date, I remember we went to Scatino's. We're like high schoolers, like whatever. But we went to Scatino's because who doesn't love pizza? And we were like talking and eating, and then literally there was this guy at a table next to us. He's a real one. The guy at the table next to us, like we were doing like rock, paper, scissors, and we were like, and I was like saying things, and the dude's like, dude, like she wins. Like she's already won. Like she's right. You can't do that. And I'm like, huh. Like the guy was taking my side. It was great. But we went outside and saw a couple of my friends. It was freezing, by the way. It was freezing. We went to a playground because we're stupid. And I met one of his friends, Brayden. And Brayden will become more relevant in the story later, but just know that I met him and we became friends. And Cupcake had asked me later on the trail, did you have a good date? And I said, yeah, because everything was like, you know, working the way I wanted it to, except when we were in the hut and he kept touching my butt and I told him to stop, but everything else was fine. And so he asked me if I wanted to be his girlfriend, and I said yes. Now here's the funny thing. We're walking down the trail, and he's just telling me things about himself, you know, like people do. This boy, if you've ever watched Degrassi, this boy is the spitting image of Miles Hollingsworth. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, I'll put a clip in right here of Miles Hollingsworth.
I get whatever I want. A cute little good girl trying to be bad caught my eye. She doesn't know what bad is.
It's a whole new Degrassi, premiering Thursday, July 11th.
But he was literally, and he even had the exact same character development as Miles. Like, he is now Miles with character development. Like, it's so freaky. Like, I'll even put a clip of Miles' character development if I can find it. But oh my gosh, you guys, like it's so freaky when I think back on it.
Supports me even though I've done a bunch of really dumb stuff.
You're an interesting, talented, complicated young man. You have stories to tell.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that train wreck. Cupcake, I almost said his real name. Cupcake was great to date at first. And I might touch on narcissism a little bit, but what I'm going to touch on is physical, mental, and emotional abuse. And I don't know if you guys have ever encountered that, but those things are definitely becoming more prevalent in our society today, and I feel like I'll make videos about them later, but I feel like I should touch on what I went through with those in this video. This is where my health starts to decline and where senior year started to get really, really dark for me. So just bear in mind it's about to get dark. I faced mental abuse the entire time. He would always play mind games with me and get me to change my mind on things or twist my words or like make me say something like that I didn't want to agree to, or like say things I didn't want to say, or things like that. I faced emotional abuse, which was basically telling me he loved me, but then saying I was worthless or I was a horrible girlfriend or like things like that. And I faced physical abuse up here, but mainly the wrists. But yeah, I had bruises on my wrists and my neck area. But it wasn't really like, as like, I don't know if I want to say, it wasn't really as bad as people make it out to be. They'll make it out to be worse, and like it wasn't good, but like it wasn't like I was gonna die. Like, no, it wasn't that bad. It was just like, it was like the most mild you could probably get, but it still wasn't good, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's never good, so you guys know what I mean. But yeah, so it had just become a point where my self-esteem was at 0, and like I just felt like I was worthless. Like I was at that point where like I just honestly didn't like see any worth in myself, and at that point I didn't care what happened to myself. Like I didn't care what would happen. And so I was like, not good. So on New Year's, my friend Ethan always has a party. If you guys see me like doing this, it's because my nose is itchy. I've got allergies. Spring makes them flare up. But my friend Ethan, I thought that motorcycle was coming back. My friend Ethan always has a New Year's Eve party, and he invited me, and I was like, sweet. So then I went to his New Year's Eve party, and it was fun, and Cupcake had shown up late. And everybody was talking to me and him, and they were getting to know him, and yada, yada, yada. And then he was, like, everybody was kicked out of Ethan's house at 1 a.m. because that's when the party ended. And Cupcake was like, hey, my house is nearby. Why don't you go and, like, wait for, like, your dad there? And I told everybody, I had a plan, and I told everybody that I was going to his house, so in case anything happened, people would know I was there. And I think Dagger was the only one that really, like, realized, like, what I was saying and listened to me. And he told me that he didn't think it was such a great idea, and I'm like, no, I'll be fine. Dagger was right. But basically, this is where I'm going to make something very, very clear. I consented to doing whatever we were doing at first. It was so long ago. I consented to doing whatever we were doing. Then I said, no, I changed my mind. What I'm going to say is very, very important. He did not rape me. I don't know who's been saying that around the high school, but he did not rape me. It was not rape. I'm not saying exactly what happened. That was behind closed doors. That was for the two of us, but it was not rape. So stop saying it was, because you weren't there. Anyway, to get that out of the way. Whew, I need to get that off my chest. But anyway, so a few days after that, he broke up with me. Because apparently I was making things harder for him. Yeah, I don't get it either. So I was kind of down on myself, and I found out that Brayden, now he's a big part of the story, Brayden had started to have a crush on me, and I decided to go hang out with him because I knew he had a crush on me. You guys are gonna call me like a bitch, like you're gonna call me a bunch of horrible names, and I'll take it, because I was. But I knew he had a crush on me, so that's why I was like, I'll hang out with him and see where it goes, because like I told you, I didn't care what happened to me. And I was becoming a manipulator a little bit. Like, I was gonna play into the fact that he liked me. I didn't like him, but I was gonna play into the fact that he liked me. Like, call me all the names you want. I was a hoe. Anyway, then Cupcake was there, and he decided to come up and talk to us. I don't know why a flower showed up on my screen. And I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And he was like, hey Kayla, how's it going? And like I was talking, but like I didn't feel comfortable. And all of a sudden, somebody comes out of the 7-Eleven. Like we hadn't even seen them come down the trail. Somebody came out of the 7-Eleven. Whoops, Cupcake looked terrified. And I'm probably gonna do that a lot. Cupcake looked terrified and sped off down the trail. And I look at the guy who just like scared him off. And I'm like, who the hell are you? Like I didn't say it, but I was like, who are you? And Brayden was like, oh, hey, Apricot. And I was like, oh my God, that like I finally had a face to a name. Like I had heard about this guy all the time and I didn't know who the heck he was. And I was like, oh. And the first thing I thought about Apricot was, damn, boy, you attractive. But I didn't say that out loud, obviously. And that's apparently the first thing that he thought about me. So he was like, Apricot was standing there and he's like, Brayden, are you gonna introduce me? And it's like, oh, Kayla, this is Apricot. Apricot, this is Kayla. And we decided to hang out. My eyeliner was on fleek, by the way, that day. But we decided to hang out. And we had walked somewhere and I had to pee. And there was a gas station. And I was like, okay, but one of you boys is coming in there with me because I'm not going in there alone. So Brayden came in there with me. And then when I got into the bathroom, he decided to go outside because Apricot had texted him that he needed to talk to him. And so he went out there and apparently they put a bet on me. Like whoever made the move on me first would get me, which that's children's play. Like, but they decided to do that because they were dumb, idiotic high school sophomores. Yeah, I dated a freshman and woo. So they were idiotic high school sophomores, so they were gonna do that. Yes, I'm eating gum, don't judge me. So then I came out of the bathroom. Everything was normal. Well, this all happened in the Apricot story, so you can click on that link and go and watch it. I don't feel like telling the whole thing over again. I'm just telling the main parts here. But he put his number in my phone. We've been talking for a while, yada, 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 yada. Start dating him. Now, dating Apricot was okay at first because he wasn't like a horrible person. But he was shady. Like, he did some shady shit. So, I mean, it probably wasn't the best relationship to find myself in. Also, he had just got out of a relationship with a long-term on-again, off-again girlfriend. And I got out of my relationship with Cupcake. And like I said before, I didn't care what was going to happen to me. I honestly did not care. The only thing I drew the line out was sex, but everything else we would do. So, I honestly did not care. I had stuff all over my neck, like all over everywhere. Like, because I just didn't care who saw my body. I didn't care anything about that. And the funny thing is, people think when I said I didn't care what happened to me, I'd be down to have sex. Never wanted to have sex, but I didn't care who saw me naked. Like, I wouldn't have sex, but I would, like, let you see me naked. It's weird, I know. I can't explain it. So, Apricot was just being Apricot, and we were just messing around with each other. It made me forget about my problems. Until Apricot came to me and was like, yo, I'm breaking up with you. He broke up with me after, like, a week or, like, 2 weeks of messing around or something. And I'm like, are you serious? So, yeah. I mean, at first we weren't dating, because at first one of my friends said, you and your boyfriend are cute, because he saw us kissing, and I'm like, oh, he's not my boyfriend. My friend was, poor him, he was so confused. But yeah, so basically that was a train wreck. And at that point, I mean, I was just losing it. I did not like it. There was this one guy that I worked on the play with, well, the musical, Grease. And he was like harassing me, wouldn't leave me alone, touching me inappropriately type of thing. And like, I wanted him to stop, but he wouldn't stop. And apparently this one girl that was friends with Apricot decided to take matters into his own hands. She started to take his side, and then she wanted to beat me up out of freaking nowhere. And then Apricot goes and dates her after the musical's over, and she wanted to beat me up, and I'm just like, I was very confused, but I was not gonna ask questions. So, Cupcake would keep messing with me through all of this. Like, every morning that Miranda and I would walk up the steps, he would, like, get quiet and stare at us. Like, I'll put Snapchats at the very end of this video showing what I mean, but, like, he would do that. So I don't think he was really getting over the breakup as well as I did, if he was still doing that. But I mean, he broke up with me, so. But yeah, so basically, I was like this guy saw me naked, and then he broke up with me like after like 2 weeks of dating, like Apricot did. We're back on Apricot. Sorry. And so I was like, I was really like at 0, and Brayden had always liked me. Told you he was going to become a big part. And we decided, the 3 of us were hanging out one day, Apricot, Brayden, and I. And Apricot was kind of flirting with me. So I thought, like, things were going to work out between us again. And that was the day that freaking Terrell was at the top of the trail and went, like, he did something, and Brian and I screamed. Well, Brayden, whatever, I don't really care. And I screamed, and Apricot was, like, dying of laughter. But anyway, we went back to Brayden's house, and we decided to go upstairs because we were like, ooh, let's look at yearbooks. But Apricot wanted to sleep. So he was laying on Brayden's bed, sleeping. That's what, you'll see why I do air quotes later. And so then we were looking through yearbooks, and Brayden's like, ooh, look at who that is. That's like Cupcake. I'm like, ew. Stuff like that. And we put the yearbook down. And Brayden was like, hey, I want to show you a magic trick, but you gotta close your eyes. And I was like, okay. You wanna know what the magic trick was? He kissed me. Now, I was too shocked to slap him or anything. Like, Tori's probably watching this and she's like, slap him, slap him, slap him. I didn't because I was too shocked. And I was too nice at the time. So I didn't want to. I was just like, oh. And he kept saying that he was sorry. He was like way too nice of a person. And I was like, I'm not going to do anything. Now, back to Apricot. I said to Brayden, like, I'm sorry, I'm not over, you decide to kiss me when I'm not over a person that's laying right over there. So, I was still trying to get over Apricot, and Brayden freaking kissed me. So I was like, oh, no. And like, I didn't have feelings for Brayden, but I didn't know how to tell him. So I told Apricot when he got back to his house that Brayden just kissed me, and he was like, wow, I don't know how to feel about it. Well, I mean, it was a little late, but I guess he finally made his move. So we got that all taken care of. And then I found out Aiden's coming in. I found out later after the fact that Aiden was pissed when he found out that happened. The same way that Brayden was pissed when he found out Apricot and I had kissed a lot. Like, everybody was just getting pissed when somebody kissed me because everybody was liking me, apparently. But I just didn't realize it because I was blind. So, it's weird when your ex tries to set you up with their best friend. Apricot was talking to me in psychology, and he was like, hey, like, if Brayden wants to talk to you after school, just hear him out, listen to what he has to say. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, just trust me, listen to what he has to say. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll listen to what he has to say. And I went out there before Grease rehearsal in my heels and my skirt and everything. And I was like, hey, you said you wanted to talk to me. And he's like, yeah. And he was like, I like you. And I was wondering if you like me back. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't feel the same. I'm also not over Apricot. And after Brayden walked away looking all sad, Apricot had the audacity to come up to me and be like, what are you doing? I'm trying to set you up with somebody who would treat you right. I'm trying to do something nice for you. And I'm like, but I don't like him. You didn't listen to me. I don't like him. I don't have feelings for him. I'm not over you. Like, I had to let him know, dude, I'm not over you. Like, you're trying to do something nice, but I just can't because I still have feelings for you, type of thing. Apricot was pissed. So, remember theater that I mentioned at the beginning? I'm not going to go into detail about that, but I want to apologize to him I let a lot of things out on him, and we were kind of snarky with each other. And now we're really good friends, but like, I want to apologize if I ever shot off the mouth at him or like did anything. And now he knows that I liked him. So, hey, if you're watching this, theater, he was also a type of person. Well, him and like my whole friends in theater, like Christian, Ethan, Lucas, yes, I'm calling all you guys out because you're amazing, Lydia, like, they were really helping me rebuild my self-confidence. Like, they were the first people to really help me feel better. And Peter was giving me compliments and like flirting with me like a little bit. So they were getting my why was I gonna say anxiety? I couldn't even pronounce it. My self-esteem back up. I don't know why I was gonna say anxiety up. They were not getting my anxiety up. But yeah, like, they were making my mental health a little better. So at this point, I started to like theater and Dagger. Now, I was like, I did not want to get into a relationship, even though I started to like them, because I was like, my last 2 relationships were shit. Like, I did not want to get into a relationship because I was getting like stuff rebuilt from being around my friends in theater, but I still didn't have a good view of myself. Like, I still hated myself. So I was like, I kind of started to care what happened to me because my friends in theater cared if something was going to happen to me. They didn't want anything to happen to me. They kept telling me, I care about you. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. So I started to see where they were coming from, and I didn't want anything bad to happen to me either. But like I said, I didn't want to go to anyone, so I'm religious. I'm a Christian. I'm going to say that. And there are like those 40 days of Lent, like I think 41 days of Lent. So for Lent, every year, unless I'm already in a relationship, I give up dating. That was the year I started. So I gave up dating for Lent, and it was a really good break. Like 41 days of not dating until Easter, like, that's a good break. So I took that break, and during that time, I did a lot of soul searching, and I was like, you know what? This is actually very informative, like I'm doing now. Like, I'm single and chilling now. And I was like, that was like very good for me, like to take that break, because I was like, that's exactly what I needed. So then Dagger had asked me to the movies to see Ready Player One, and I wanted to see it. And I was like, oh, so my friend's asking me to see a movie with them. Okay, that's cool. Well, Dagger had meant it as a date, but I didn't know he meant it as a date. Again, I'm just hitting the main plot points because that story will be down below, but I'm just hitting the main plot points. So like, he meant it as a date. I didn't know he meant it as a date. All that stuff. So, told me that we did. Told me that we did what? Oh. I just had told me that we did. I didn't know what the hell that meant. Found out we were dating. So I found out from him the day after Easter Monday, that we were dating. And I literally said, we are? Like, I was cool with the fact that we were dating, because guys, remember, I liked him. So like, I was cool with it, but like, it's an inside joke between the two of us that he should have told me earlier. But I don't want you guys to think I wasn't cool with it. I was cool with it. Because Dagger was the type of person as a friend that was rebuilding on my self-confidence. And every time I was with Dagger, my self-confidence was going up. So when I dated Dagger, my self-confidence was slowly going up back to where it was before. So I need to explain Dagger. He was a good person. Like, he was in a wheelchair when we dated, but, you know, he was a good person, and he always wanted to help. It was in his nature. Helping people was in his nature. And, like, he was a really good friend to have if you had a problem, and he always listened, and he always cared. He was very empathetic. He was, like, basically the guy version of me. Like, he played a lot of video games. Like, he was the guy version of me, basically. And so we really vibed together well. But good things must come to an end. And when I started college, he was smoking weed to cope with nerve pain. And he got so high once that he forgot who I was and my name. So when things looked great, they were actually not great. But my self-esteem was still high through that all. I still thought of myself as someone. And here's the thing that goes with Dagger. I knew that I deserved better, but I didn't want to leave because it was my longest relationship, like 10 months. That was my longest relationship. And I didn't want to leave. You know what I mean? Like, I also thought that I could help people. Like, through these 3 relationships, I thought I could help fix the person. You can't. Unless somebody's looking for help, you can't do anything. Like, unless they're gonna go get help for themselves, you can't do anything. If you're not a licensed therapist, which I don't think any of you are at around that age, you can't do anything. Even though I'm studying to be one now, I had no idea what the hell I was doing at my age. The whole cupcake thing with narcissism. I think he was one. I'm never going to say he outright is. That's not my business. I thought he was, and a lot of other people did. Apricot, I think he was just a troubled kid. He was a kid with bipolar. He didn't know how to manage his bipolar. He had a lot of manic episodes and depressive episodes. He was just a troubled kid. And Dagger just started using a drug that he should have never used. It just happens. So I'm supposed to tell you guys where I am now. I am my second semester of college. And I'm single, but I'm chilling. Honestly, my self-esteem has never been better. I've never been happier. I'm going to be in a freaking Mariana's Trench music video. Like, I'm freaking living my best life over here. So watch that Mariana's Trench music video. Only the lonely survive. But I'm chilling. Like, it'll probably be out by the time this goes up, so watch it. But no, I'm big chilling. Like, I'm living life. I'm great. So yeah. But yeah. So, like I said, I can't give advice. But I do want to give notes. Dear Peter, I'm sorry that, you know, I was a little to you when you didn't feel the same. It's all good. We're cool. We're Gucci. Dear Stage, I'm sorry for the way our relationship fell apart. That was totally me. Like, sorry. Sorry for dating you when I didn't like you. Dear Maya, I'm sorry that I made you think that I liked this person, and so I started dating them. I just wanted you to be happy. I didn't know that would actually end up hurting you in the end when you found out the truth. Dear Cupcake, I'm sorry that people are saying things, and I'm sorry that people are still talking about you and saying you raped me. Like, that's not true. Like, please, if you hear it, shut it down. And tell them they can come to me if they want to know the truth. Dear Apricot, we're not friends anymore, so people are probably expecting me to say fuck you. Like I said at the end of the Toxic Friendships advice video, I hope you're doing good. I hope you're fine. I can't really have you as a friend in my life, but I wish you the best because I'll always have love and respect for you in my heart. Dear Dagger, we're still cool. We're cool. Like, we're Gucci. We're great. Me being a psychic, I think, has brought us closer together. A video on that later. I think I've gone... Oh, dear Brayden. Yeah, don't just kiss me randomly, but sorry I didn't have feelings for you, I guess. Dear Aiden, when you liked me and when you wanted to ask me out, you should have taken the chance and asked me out. I mean, I probably would have said no, but you still should have taken that chance, you know? You only live once. And, the last one. Dear Theater. You are... I really don't want to cry. I have to think about what I'm going to say. Actually, dear my whole theater family, as I call them, you guys are my saving grace senior year. Thank you, Lydia, for hugging me when I cried and like always caring about how I was doing. Thank you, Lucas, for just being amazing and a positive ray of sunshine. Thank you, Christian, for being like a brother to me and like messing with me and all that. Thank you, Ethan, for keeping me sane. Like both Ethans. Thank you for keeping me sane. Darby was just hilarious. I haven't really talked to him that much, but he was just hilarious. And thank you, Theater, for being amazing. Okay, I'm done. Thank you, Peter. Thank you. And Peter is not a code name. This is his actual name. Thank you, Peter. Because you are one of the most amazing people that I've ever met. You can make my rainy days so much happier and add so much sunshine. Thank you so much for being who you are. And yeah, that was the last note. So I hope this opened your eyes on how messed up I was and how I didn't care about myself. I didn't care who saw me naked. That's probably going to be a shock to Tori. But yeah, I literally thought I was so worthless. I didn't care who saw me naked. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys get a little more insight into who I am. I'm waiting for the comments to come in of, oh, then you must have been a slut or like what, I don't care. Those comments don't get to me. They're just trolls. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but I just decided to come in here and tell you guys about this story. And I don't know how long this video is going to be, but it's probably going to be longer than like, I mean, I thought it was going to be. Like, the last time I looked, it was 11:16 and I was like 11:55. So, oh, I got really dizzy there. So, I'm going to stop filming now because, you know, this is the end. But, again, if you guys need advice on anything, KaygivesadviceYT@gmail.com. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram, my Twitter, my music Instagram. They're all down below. Music / modeling. Music will be coming out later because we were going to work on it around this time, but quarantine fucked us over, so can't get to my manager / producer. Yeah, so I hope this opened some people's eyes, even some people who went to school with me. I hope this opened your eyes into why I maybe acted the same way, or people that were in the story, maybe you'll understand why I acted the way that I did. Because of what had happened. But I'm not going to hang my head low. I'm not going to be ashamed. It's all good. But yeah, if you guys need any clarification, even if you want clarification on this video, don't be afraid to email me asking me questions. Like, I would love to answer. Anyway, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. I need to figure out how to turn this camera off.
Same button to start it.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.